Hello Internet, this is Whispering Whim, and we're back for another monthly grocery haul. I don't have too many announcements this month, so let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? First up, we have some kettle cooked salt and pepper potato chips for my guy, of course. And next up, we have the ever-present mini donuts, kind of flesh out, there we go. My guy's breakfast selection. And this is a seasonal flavor. It's mini apple cinnamon. So I'll be curious to see if he likes that. Because, I don't know, I try to spice things up for him, as you probably know by now. But when it comes to like actual seasonal flavors, he doesn't seem to be that big on them. Like he definitely doesn't do pumpkin spice, right? But every time I try to give him like an unusual one, he tends to tell me that they're not as good. So fingers crossed that apple cinnamon is delicious. Next up, looks like we have one lonely little package of Not Berry Farm cookies. There's going to be a total of 4 of these somewhere, but just like last month, the Winco situation, you know, the main grocery store that I use, like now they finally have dividers, but I still feel this need to like hurry up so that I'm not like, because you're less than 6 feet away when you're bagging your groceries. So I just I threw things in all kind of hodgepodgey. So we'll find those cookies though. In the meantime, we got some garlic. And I bought this to replace the garlic that I have because it's getting a little over sprouted here. Like a little tiny bit of green isn't too bad. But that's a whole plant right there. It's my own fault. I don't have a great place to store them. So I usually store my garlic just right in this cabinet here. And if I remember to keep the door closed, then it's fine. But I am a serial door opener, lever opener kind of a person. Like I'm always like browsing and I open them and then they're just like that. The cabinets on the other side are still open because I didn't even think to close them. But I remembered to close this one because I actually cleaned out my shelf so I could put the groceries away as I was trying to put the groceries away. It's kind of a novel concept for me. So next up, we have some mashed potatoes, and there are 2 flavors here. I've got my baby reds, which I think is my favorite flavor. And then I also got roasted garlic. Not sure if I tried this one or not. But you may recall, I think it was last month, I had picked up like a loaded mashed potato flavor that had like bacon, chive, and sour cream flavors. It wasn't bad. Actually, the first couple of bites of it were pretty tasty, to be honest. But it kind of had that like artificial bacon flavor. And you know how I am with artificial flavors in general. But that artificial bacon flavor just kind of like clung on my tongue. So guess I won't be getting that one again. Moving right along. This poor bag is not built in a way that's convenient to get my stuff out. We have some kidney beans, light red, and some cheddar cheese soup mix. There should be some more beans if I make sure this doesn't fall here. got some white beans for the chili. And then I also have somewhere hiding a can of dark red kidney beans. And I'm not really sure what the flavor difference is, so I figured, why not find out this month? Next up, the thing that is trying so desperately to escape my bag here is another bit of these jalapeno pretzel pieces. I'm kind of obsessed with them now, which is interesting because they are actually artificially flavored, but they have a very appropriate flavor. They're, it doesn't cling to your tongue. It doesn't have an aftertaste kind of a thing. And it's just the right amount of spice, because when things are labeled jalapeno and it just barely tastes like you threw something green in there, it's kind of pointless, right? So these have a little bit of spice, but they're not like Tabasco hot. And why don't I pause here while my neighbor does his thing? Okay, I think the worst of it is over. Although there may be a lot of stop and go today, which I guess is kind of funny. If I edit it really well, you guys probably would never even know. But whatchamacallit, I live in an apartment, right? And that's always been kind of a concern, but it hasn't been too bad. But the gentleman directly above me retired recently. The guy to my side is also retired. And basically, a long story short, I am surrounded now by people who are home all day long. Now, they're actually all pretty good neighbors. Like, other than trying to do videos where I'm being like extra quiet, they're fabulous. They don't blast their television or bang on the wall too often. But when it comes time to talk to you guys and to be nice and quiet and calm, I get a little frustrated. Especially because it seems like there's always someone taking a shower. It's weird. Anyways, let's get back to the groceries. Next up, we have a big old bag of medium shells. And you saw that cheddar cheese soup mix earlier, right? Now, for those who've been around me often enough, I think you can guess what I'm going to make with those two ingredients. That's right. Mac and cheese. My infamous bacon jalapeno mac and cheese. I will be visiting my sister next week. Yes. So when I'm out of town, I tend to make my guy, let's see if I can do this quietly. Kind of. I tend to make some meals ahead of time, so that my fiance can eat them and not miss me as much. Although he'll swear up and down that even my tastiest meal does not replace being able to snuggle me. Because he's a big old silly like that. Oh, it's too bad I have to wait a whole nother year to marry him, but he's worth the wait. Now then, we have some diced tomatoes with green chili. I'll be making my pepper steak yet again this month. I do tend to repeat a lot of meals, especially when they work out right. And let's see here. See what I mean about keeping cabinets open all the time? I'm terrible for it. Moving along though, we've got this giant bag of Lay's potato chip. I have been having a hankering for sour cream and onion, like chip and dip kind of a thing. So whenever I get this bag, I always think it's like excessive, but I make the sour cream dip with the Lipton soup mix. You add a packet to 16 ounces of sour cream, and it doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it actually requires a fair amount of chips to go through it all, unless you're just eating globs and globs of dip by itself, right? And speaking of sour cream and onion, I got these. I think I have regrets. I don't know how good they're going to be. But I picked them up because at Winco, the grocery store that I usually shop at right now, for some reason, the Good brand of sunflower seeds, the Spitz brand that has like a million different flavors, that's a seasonal item for them. So now that it's fall and not summer, which apparently seed chewing is a summer activity, which I can kind of see, but that's a different tangent. They don't carry the Spitz brand, but they carry these. David, I think it's kind of like the main brand in the country, honestly. That's the one I remember when I was growing up. So anyways, their flavor selection, at least at the grocery store, was kind of subpar. You could get plain ranch and like that one, right? So I picked it up just to try it. I think it's gonna be weird. And really, I don't know why I insisted that I try it, because even if it's hard to find those at the grocery store, all the gas stations in town still carry the Spitz brand that I prefer. So, yeah, maybe it'll be alright. Maybe I'll discover my new favorite flavor, because I have been eating a lot of that dill pickle one, and it's time to change things up. And finishing off that bag is a good old packet of roasted garlic and herb seasoning. This is a very good kind of all-around flavor mix. It's kind of got like almost an Italian kind of flavor profile without being like too herby, I guess. It leans more heavily on the pepper and garlic kind of side of the Italian flavor profile. And someone is either washing their hands or taking another shower. I usually try to really edit all of this out, but I need to vent. It's been so hard to do videos lately. Maybe if this kind of background noise doesn't bother you, you can let me know. I assume it does, because it would bother me. We gotta figure something out. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and wait until the water sound is gone yet again. So I'll see you guys on the other side of this video edit. And just like that, you guys have magically transported an hour into the future. I believe everything has settled down, so we're gonna continue right along here. First, in our newest bag here, we have some Milano cookies. These are definitely for the lunches. I think that he might have been getting a little bored. I bought that pack of Scooby Snacks last month, and I didn't have a lot of things to mix in and out, so he ate Scooby Snacks quite a bit. So you'll see that I got him several different types of cookies to add some variety back into those lunches. But before we get to those cookies, we have some Triscuit, the ever classic roasted garlic flavor. You know, garlic in all of its many, many wonderful forms is something we consume in this household. And then just to keep us on our toes, because you know, it's just so daring, I also got garden herb flavored Triscuits. And they will cleanly go right into my cupboard. It's so exciting to be able to put things away right away. Anyways, we have some green beans and another can of green beans and another can of white beans. I believe I've already unbagged one of those, though I'm losing track of where I'm at. And then here is those red kidney beans. So I think earlier I had shown you some light red ones. They're hiding in there somewhere. And when I was looking at them on the shelf, I was like, I don't know if there's any difference from a taste standpoint. And when I go visit my sister, she is becoming a vegetarian. So I figured I would test out a few meat-free recipes that I have. And beans are a pretty good source of protein. And not only that, but you get some fiber too, which I think a lot of people could use a little extra fiber these days. And then next up, we have some spice packs. They did not have my favorite tomato, basil, garlic one, but that's all right. We are going to try some mesquite this month. And then I also picked this up. It's a slow cooker seasoning pack to make beef barbacoa. Barbacoa. Just for a little bit of variety, I've been making those pepper steaks in my crock pot and stews and other rich, hearty beef, right? Slow cooked beef meals. But it doesn't hurt to try a few different other kind of flavor profiles, right? To round out the experience. And then we've got some Better Than Bouillon chicken base. I use so much of this stuff, it's ridiculous. It feels like every month I have to buy either the chicken one or the beef one. And then next up we have one little can, only one, of Monster Energy drink. It's my guilty pleasure once in a while. And it's been kind of a weird month, so I figured I was going to have my energy drink and a few other little things that we haven't quite gotten to yet, and just kind of treat myself a little bit. But anyways, finishing out that bag is a nice big old jar of Skippy peanut butter. Let's go ahead and dive into this bag next. We have some Hamburger buns, and I got these last month, right? And they're really supposed to be for just my guys' hamburgers. I typically will cook up 2 patties, but I'll put mine on like cauliflower rice or something like that, right? But I ended up eating one of the buns because it's, you know, bread, and bread is delicious. And these are actually pretty good buns. Like, I like this brand in general, but I've been eating a lot less bread products lately, so I wasn't sure how their hamburger buns would be. But what I liked was that it's only a pack of 6. Even with throwing them in the freezer, it was hard to go through, you know, I think a standard pack is like 12, maybe it's only 8. Either way, I know our buns were starting to get a little freezer burnt because, again, I wasn't eating them. So I picked up that brand because it had less in the package, but now I kind of like them and I want to eat them, which I guess further helps the problem because there won't be any leftovers. Okay, so I was telling you earlier with my energy drink that I had gotten myself a few little like cheaty foods this month. Not a lot, just a little. But one of those cheaty foods is dinosaur egg oatmeal. Oh my goodness. Now, I forget what prompted it, but I was telling some friends of mine about this oatmeal and how the my preferred way to eat it is that I'll dump the packet out and I'll pull all the dinosaurs out. Well, they'll be like this. They'll be in like little colored round globs. And then I'll cook my oatmeal and I'll throw the eggs in after it's been cooked so that you can actually like watch them slowly dissolve. Because if you throw it all together in the microwave, you know, the egg will dissolve and the dinosaur part starts to dissolve too. But long story short, I was telling my friends about it. They had never even heard of dinosaur egg oatmeal, and I've had this since I was a kid. So they actually went out and bought some, and they were telling me about how much they enjoy pulling the eggs out too. Well, one of them does it, and the other one is like, yeah, it looks cool, but I'm just too lazy. Kind of funny the little ways you impact people's lives, right? Because they didn't even know that dinosaur egg oatmeal existed. Far less exciting than, you know, dinosaur oatmeal. Our next item is one little Brita filter, so we can drink filtered water in our fridge. And then we have some Knott's Berry Farm cookies. This one is apricot flavor. And then this is my special impulse buy for my guys' lunch this month. It's Pocky Sticks, and it is the cookies and cream flavor. I don't think I've gotten that one for him yet. I'm sure he's tried it, you know, because Pocky's been around forever. But I have not personally bought it for him. I bought the green tea ones and the strawberry ones. I'm pretty sure I haven't gotten that one. Now I'm second guessing myself. So that's my cue to move right along. Some more Knott's Berry Farm. Winco has these individual bags down in their bulk section, and anything that's like pre-wrapped is the only thing they'll let you buy out of the bulk foods, which makes me really sad, actually. I miss many things that were in the bins that you can scoop out exactly what you needed, you know. Anyways, moving right along. I have to keep telling myself, move along, move along. We have some circus animal crackers. Lots and lots of sweet things for my guys' lunches this month. Speaking of lunches, the last little item hanging out in this bag here is some Nature Valley Krispy Kreme wafers. I actually tried these first in the big bulk box because I saw them at Sam's Club far before I saw them in grocery stores. And I definitely enjoy them. Although when it's such a giant box, there's this like compulsion to try to eat it really fast, even though it's like prepackaged and it wouldn't really go bad. So I kind of like that it's just a little tiny box, because that's one of those things that I'm guilty of eating. Not 100% of them makes it into the lunchbox, right? Although I'd say most of them. I like to think that I'm mostly good. Speaking of lunch stuff, we have some Ziploc bags. A box like that will last us quite a while, because my poor guy, I make him wash out the Ziploc bags until they're kind of like gross and useless. You know, just to limit how much we throw away, right? You know, if he has an important meeting that he has to get to, then fine, go ahead and throw it away today. But other than that, we rinse our bags in this household. Oh man. I've also learned recently that when he washes the bags, oh my goodness. So, to really get like, the residue off, you kind of have to like, put the sponge in there and actually scrub at it a little bit, right? With some soap and water, and they'll come clean just like any bowl or, glass would, right? He takes the sponge. It's already wet and soapy, so ready to go to clean the bag because he's already been cleaning dishes, right? He takes it and he squeezes it out inside the bag and he swishes the bag. And like, that works if it's like breadcrumbs or, little chip big pieces, but anything that's oily, that, I'm sorry, just shaking the bag around doesn't clean it. Oh no. I didn't correct him though. I keep an eye on the plastic bags, and if one looks dirty still, I just rewash it. Anyways, let's go ahead and move right along. He doesn't watch my videos, but that doesn't mean he never will, right? Hello, future potentially people I know. That was weird. Ignore that. Anyways, next up, coffee. Lots and lots of delicious coffee. Following that, I think this is the last lunch item that I have. And this one was definitely a bit of a dangerous splurge. This is Chex Mix Muddy Buddies, peanut butter and chocolate flavor. And I love Chex Mix, like desserts. My granny used to make them when I was a kid. The old-fashioned way where you like soak it in butter and you have to like shake it in the powdered sugar and everything. So it's very nostalgic, and these flavors that they have now are actually pretty good. I like this chocolate peanut butter one, but it's dangerous because it's like one bag, right? So you open it up and the urge is to just like munch, 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 right? Versus, a lot of the sweet things I buy, I usually buy individually packaged. Not always. Sometimes my guilt gets the better of me because, there's a lot more waste with that. But anyways, that's neither here nor there right now. What I'm trying to get at is that because these are both delicious and all in one bag, I have to be careful not to, eat like half of this in one sitting, because that'd be very bad. Let's see here. There are technically 10 servings in this container, according to the nutrition facts. One serving has 130 calories and 22 grams of sugar. Now that doesn't actually sound that bad for a dessert item until I remember that if this whole bag is 10 servings, that means they're expecting you to eat like, I don't know, 5 little crackers. at a time, and that's not gonna happen, right? Maybe I'll try. Next up, we got actually several containers of stock. So some beef stock and chicken stock, and a little more beef stock. Now, I do mostly use bouillon, but now that I'm making more soups and stuff, sometimes it's good to just have this. That's a kind of weird noise. It's good to just have the stock around because it's not as salty, so you can get some of that like richness, the hearty beef flavor without adding, another extra tablespoon of salted bouillon. I usually use both together if I'm going to use beef stock, because it's kind of very mild flavor, but for making sure that I don't go through all of my bouillon in one go, it's also useful for that. Next up is another cheating item for me, full of cheating this month. It is my birthday month, so I'm gonna say that that's my valid excuse. And yeah, love to have these guys with some coffee. Although it's hard for me to eat just one. I'll grab it in my cup of coffee and I'll go sit on the couch and just relax. And I'll eat it so fast I still have like most of my cup of coffee. And it's like that whole milk and cookies kind of a thing. It's like, oh, I still have more milk. I should get cookies. And then you get more cookies and you run out of milk and you're like, oh no, I still have cookies. I'm going to go get more milk. I will do that with the biscotti if I'm not careful. So, wish me luck on being a good, not eat it all at once girl. That doesn't even make sense. Oh man. Finally, in our dry bags, I got some of these riced vegetables. So it's just kind of a mock rice food, right? It's still kind of high on carbohydrate, honestly. But it also has protein and a little bit of fat. And I guess long story short, my sister going vegetarian kind of reminded me that I've been meaning to not go vegetarian myself, because it's possible but not very likely, but to lessen the amount of meat that I eat. You don't need as much protein as people tend to get, but also like the meat industry is terrible for the environment. And I have been feeling guilty about all this extra waste lately, going back to the regular disposable bags when I go to the grocery store, and I have been buying individual packages of stuff. So I kind of want to try to ease up on my meat consumption. And something like this, since there's already some protein in there, I could probably, I don't know, I haven't tried it yet. Hopefully it's good. But maybe toss it with a little bit of oil and what would I probably add to that? Maybe a tiny bit of bacon. Only a tiny bit. Or, some edamame or something to boost the protein content. And that could be a meal. I think on my daytime, because I've been home a lot more, because I've been working from home basically. There's no reason not to make myself nutritious lunches. And I've been a little bad, right, this month, but after my birthday, we're going to go right back on that diet. and I'll have some rice and vegetable stuff to try out. Yay! Alright, now moving on to our cooler stuff. First up, I have several packs of bacon, and you'll notice that they're in different containers. It's the same kind I always get. I used to get it from the deli counter, and as you may remember, I had a fit more than once about how they packaged it up over there. And then I found out that you could buy a giant, like 5-pound pack for much, much cheaper. And then magically the 5-pound pack went away, but they had awesome little 1.5-pound packs. And I love those guys. They were so convenient. And their price was good. Well, now they've come out with these. Basically, at the end of the night, you know, after all the people who've gone through the deli counter have gotten the bacon they want to get, they are started wrapping it up, and they've discounted it. It's still good. You know, the use by date on this is 10/20, and I think today is like the 7th. Maybe it's the 8th. I lose track. But moral of the story is this is $3.38 a pound for good quality pepper bacon. You know, thick cut and everything. Whereas if I bought it from the counter itself, I think it was at like almost $5 a pound at one point over there. So considerable savings. My only complaint is that you can kind of see how it's all like thrown in there. That means I'll have to restack it in order to cut and freeze it properly, but saving a little bit of money is worth it, I think. Following that, we have some butter. I've started getting unsalted butter. I think most cooks prefer to work with unsalted because you can kind of, you know, then control how salty your meal is. You can always add more salt in later, right? You can't take it back out. I kind of resisted it for a long time because I grew up. You know, if we had real butter, it was definitely salted butter, right? Although we often had margarine in my household growing up, which was also salty, so, you know. But anyway, so I've been resisting getting the, like, ever classic unsalted butter. And finally just got it, and I'm like, why have I been, you know, resisting this forever? I have no idea. Moving right along though. Our next item is a big old pack of mozzarella cheese. When I make my bacon jalapeno mac and cheese meal, right? The main cheese is actually mozzarella cheese. I know, like, that classic cheddar flavor is what people think of, you know, when they think of mac and cheese. But I find that, you know, you need a little bit of cheddar in there. But having quite a bit of mozzarella gives it a nice, like, you know, stretch to it. I like the texture. And I think because it's a spicy mac and cheese, it kind of balances it out a bit more. It's my opinion anyways. And then rounding out this particular bag, we have 2 packages of kielbasa. And I'm just noticing right now that they're beef. I normally get the regular one, which is like it's actually a combination of beef, chicken, and pork. And I like regular, like, classic kielbasa better than the all beef one. But I have 2 packages of this, so I will be eating it. Following that, we've got some Mexican 4 cheese and more cheese, I'm sure. Come on. Yes. Yeah, it's slipping. Oh, it's slipping. We have some string cheese. And you know, it's interesting. So I usually trust the little labels that the grocery store puts out that says, you know, this is, 30 cents an ounce, 47 cents an ounce, right? It's supposed to make it easier to direct comparison your foods, right? Because they might be in different package sizes. But I noticed, and I'm not sure why I noticed, but I noticed that a number was wrong. And I had been buying the littler packet because, according to the signs, it was actually cheaper per ounce. But I was doing the math and I was like, I don't think that's the right price. So I pull out my calculator and it wasn't the right price. So I don't know. I probably could complain to someone about that, but I'll just keep a note in my head to not trust those signs so much, right? And finishing off this particular bag here, crinkle, 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 right? Is a big old thing of jalapeno ranch. We have jalapeno ranch so often now that sometimes when we go to the store and they don't, obviously they just have regular ranch, I'll have it, I'll dip my fry into it or whatever that I'm using it for, right? And I'll be thrown off for a second. I'm like, did their ranch go bad? Why does this restaurant have weird ranch? And then I remember, oh yeah, we don't have regular ranch at home. So I'm slowly forgetting what regular ranch tastes like. Kind of a strange thing, right? Anyways, moving right along, we've got some bell peppers here. 2 green bell peppers and 1 red bell pepper. And there should be even more peppers. Oh, here's some jalapeno peppers. And I only got a couple this visit. The produce selection at Winco wasn't looking very healthy. And I would say that maybe was just a problem with them, except for I've noticed for the past couple of weeks, because I'll do like this big grocery shop, right? And get all the basics for the month. And then I usually get like a few vegetables on the weeks in between. But for like a couple of weeks now, the quality has been very low. Has it been low in your area too? Because I'm kind of concerned. Usually you get the best produce, summer and late fall, at least in my area. So if we're already on like the sad looking produce, I'm kind of concerned for what it's gonna look like in the winter time. But that's still a little ways away. And in the meantime, I have a heavy bag of apples that I'm just, swinging around here. So let me show you. Apples. Yep. Okay, let's move on. Now, finishing out my rather torn up looking bag here are some more peppers. And these are some Anaheim peppers to give my pepper steak a little bit of kick, right? We are now down to our last 2 bags. These guys have been safely hiding in the freezer, which is a good thing. It says taken an unusually long time to do today, but that's all right. No harm, no foul, right? And better yet, I get to treat myself with some off-brand Dippin' Dots yet again this month. I think I'm going to have this as soon as we're done here. Last month, I tried the banana split flavor, and it tasted about right. Kind of that artificial banana kids' food kind of an ice cream flavor. But when you're feeling nostalgic, that is perfectly fine. And banana split, out of all the Dippin' Dot flavors, is hands down my favorite. Because you could, eat a little yellow one and it would taste like banana, and you'd eat a little brown one and it would taste like chocolate. And I loved that as a kid. But anyway, I had already tried banana split, so I decided to go with a different flavor. This one is unicorn swirl, and it is a cherry and vanilla artificially flavored flavor. So I'm excited to try this as my wrap-up treat for today. Speaking of ice cream, though, we also have some Snickers ice cream bars. This is mostly for my guy. I tend to go to bed before him, especially on the weekends. And he's definitely like a midnight snacker, right? If he's awake after I am, he's usually looking around for something, and I don't know. I like to have ice cream available for when he decides he needs a midnight snack. Now, instead of ice cream, what I typically snack on if I need a sweet, cool treat is mango. Now, I hadn't picked up a package of mango in a little while. I had some back when I was on my smoothie kick, and when I decided to cut out smoothies because they're basically just sugar bombs. I had a pack of mango just hanging out in the freezer. Now, back in my bakery days, we used to have frozen mango pretty much everywhere I've ever worked. And it was my favorite thing, one of my favorite things, to eat it while it's like still frozen, but like maybe just a hair thawed out. It has a texture that's it's like sorbet with a little bit more chew to it. And it's very pleasant for me as like a sweet dessert. It's still kind of sugary. One serving is 20 grams of carbohydrate, but 2 grams of fiber. And of course, since it's just real mango, it's a natural sugar, so your body digests it a little slower than like corn syrup or white sugar, right? So I had pulled out the bag because I needed something sweet to snack on. I ate an entire bag in one day. I think it was like a week and a half ago. So I picked up 2, but I'm going to try not to eat them in one sitting this time. Wish me luck, right? Next up, we have some ground beef, which was already chilling in the freezer, so that's rock solid. I don't plan on cooking it tonight, so it's good that it's frozen. And then we have a very large bag of chimichangas. We don't need the big pack like at all. But they were out of the little packs of this flavor, and this is kind of my favorite flavor, which doesn't really matter that it's my favorite flavor because I don't eat them that often, but I do pick them up in case I'm not home and my guy needs to eat because he won't cook for himself. Nothing more elaborate than a microwave burrito anyways, right? And when I go visit my sister, I will make him some mac and cheese before I go, but I don't think he can eat that every night, so I had to make sure he had some backup food. And then hanging out in the corner of this particular bag is some freezer ravioli. These are surprisingly tasty. I kind of like this brand better than the like fresh ones that they have like in the cheese case at most Grocery stores. You can usually find it either around the cheese or sometimes there's like a whole like self-service food prep like section in the coolers. Anyways, there's usually like fresh raviolis in those, and I don't like them as well as these ones. And they're so easy. Just straight from the freezer into a pot of boiling water and add some marinara sauce, and you're pretty much done. So, for those nights where I don't feel like cooking, I think this will be our fill-in meal, right? And with that, we are down to our last bag, which, as you might guess, is our frozen vegetable bag. I don't really intend to leave it for last. Like, it's not the most exciting thing to like end our conversation on, right? But lately I've been, doing the shopping, and then the video is usually a little separate. So I've been sticking all the produce in the fridge and the freezer stuff in the freezer to wait, which has improved the quality of my groceries, honestly, because they were sitting out in the counter for a long time with my old method. But anyways, it makes sense to me to do the freezer stuff last because I unplug it while I am talking to you guys. It's a rather large, older freezer unit. So if I keep it closed for the whole time I'm recording, it doesn't really lose a lot of coolness, right? Because it's closed. Which does mean, though, that I save the veggies for last. And that's always our exciting end note here. See how many bags of vegetables I bought this month. So, without much further ado, we have San Francisco blend. We have 2 of the large cut Normandy blend. 2. We have some spiral cut zucchini. Oh, we have 1 Trader in here. This is some more fruit for me to snack on. Super Fruit Melody, which has bananas, blueberries, and pomegranate. Just the color palette enticed me more than any actual need for more frozen fruit, because I'll be pretty happy with the mango, but variety is the spice of life, right? And then we have some Asian stir fry. And finally, broccoli stir fry, which is all relatively the same mix, but is slightly different. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 bags of vegetables this month. Boy, I'm slacking. Eating too much oatmeal and biscotti, I'm telling you. Oh, well, there's always a chance to get more veggies later, right? So to end our little video, there's always a shout out, right? And today's shout out is a little different. It's going to Nilka Diaz. The reason why this is kind of a special shout out is that they had actually started following me all the way on Instagram, and they watched one of my stories. I do, my felted fiber arts, so it's not exactly ASMR related, right? But I had a little clip in my stories of me just wrapping up an order. I guess I'm naturally kind of drawn to those kinds of things, right? So it's like tissue paper and crinkle crinkle and paper sounds, but it was only like, 30 seconds long, if that. But anyways, so she commented like, this will make a great ASMR video. And I was like, funny you say that, I do ASMR. And she's like, yeah, I know, I followed you on YouTube. The whole idea that they, it actually worked, like cross-referencing my two families, right? Actually resulted in someone following me on Instagram. That's super excited. So thank you, Diaz, for the suggestion. If I have a day where it's both quiet and I have many orders to fill, I will take you up on that suggestion and do it as an ASMR video. Although meeting both of those criteria at the same time may be a little difficult. We'll see. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Thanks for listening to me and putting up with my slight little angry spat when there was all that noise upstairs, right? Yeah, so I hope you have a wonderful night. I'll see you next time. Bye.